anyone here heard of Hebb's law? How about the line, neurons that fire together wire together, or something to that effect? So the idea there is, or the concept there is, that really what we focus on expands. What we repeat is something that we ingrain more deeply. And when it comes to the neurons and the neural pathways in our brain, the more we practice something, the more we focus on something, the more we rehearse that something, and the more ingrained, the deeper those grooves become. It's kind of like a record player. Everybody here is familiar with albums, right? With vinyl, and like there's a needle that goes on there, and it plays in these little grooves and stuff. And the more it plays, more often it plays, then the deeper those grooves can become. Same thing with our brains. And so these incredible, amazing pathways and these things called neurons, the more that we rehearse something, then the stronger they become and the more ingrained those pathways are. So the more we rehearse something, the more automatic it becomes. And if what it is that we've been rehearsing isn't as life-affirming as we would like, isn't as supportive as it could be, then what we need to do is we need to start rehearsing something different. We need to start thinking new thoughts. We need to start telling new stories. We need to start entertaining new beliefs. We need to get really, really aware of what it is that we are feeling and emoting, so that if what it is we're feeling and emoting isn't supporting us in living our most amazing, engaging, and fulfilling life, in experiencing the wholeness of not just our being, but of being, then we got to do something differently. So I experienced something very different, and for the first time just a few days ago, and I am so excited because this was really new and different for me. So I'm going to preface it by saying that in the last 10 years, throughout my spiritual and consciousness studies, sort of like the official 7 years of like starting from zero and then graduating as a minister, then my prosperity consciousness really expanded because it was something we had to work on. I mean, there were classes that we took, there were programs that we were in, and we really had to focus on our prosperity consciousness and really tune into this idea that there is a wellspring of abundance that is available and that is always, always present for us to tap into, and that wellspring never runs dry. And so it's not our bank account, it's not our jobs, it's not someone giving us money, an inheritance, a lottery winning, or whatever that is the source of our supply. It is this incredible, amazing wholeness, this divine energetic flow, this love that is so pure, that is so whole, that is so essential, that is so ever present. This is who and what we are. That is our true abundance. And once we really, really clue into that, then we can never be poor. Okay? It might seem that maybe in the material world or on the conventional realm, we might be lacking some of the resources that we would prefer to have at our fingertips, but ultimately what we know is that we are always supported, we are always held, we are always guided, and we are abundant from within. So, lots of years it took me to get to this knowing and really, really embody it. And there are still days when I feel challenged and I kind of, shift my attention to something else. But for the most part, I'm very much in tune with that. That being said, I'm so excited about this experience that I had. So we're going to Edmonton at the end of April to celebrate my mom's 80th birthday, and we're going to be away for a week. It's a really huge deal for her because a couple of weeks later, after living in Edmonton for her entire life, except for a few little places here and there, she is actually moving here. And so she is saying goodbye to her community, goodbye to the family members, and she is moving here so that she can be closer to my sister and I and our families here. And she's doing this because she's like, I'm still healthy and I'm still sound in mind and I want to do it on my terms kind of thing. So we're going to be spending some time in Edmonton celebrating my mom and just supporting her as she, says goodbye to everyone and everything in Edmonton. And so it's going to be lovely, but it's not going to be like a super relaxing vacation. And so because I haven't had a super relaxing vacation, even when I went to Nashville, which is super fun, but it was not relaxing, I decided that I am going to take a few days after we come back from Edmonton, and I'm going to do something for myself. Now, it's going to end up being for Glenn and myself because I decided I really want to have some time with my husband. And so what I did for the first time ever is I booked a vacation. I booked some time at a resort and spa, like a really fancy pants place in Parksville. And it is so beyond any kind of luxurious thing that we have ever experienced. And for the first time, it wasn't about, can I afford this? You know, am I choosing this room because this is the amount of money that I have to spend on it? Instead, it was, what do I want? What do I really want? How do I want to enjoy this? What kind of experience do I want to have? And I got to tell you, it felt amazing. Now, I save money every single week. I have various accounts that are labeled for certain things, and so I definitely had the money to pay for it. But it was such a cool feeling to have this thing of, you know, it's not like I have this amount of money, so I can only spend it on this. It's like, what experience do I want to have? And I want to have an oceanfront room. So click, that's what I'm choosing for myself. This is very new and different for me. Like even a few months ago, never mind a year ago, before we did this relaxed money program that had all sorts of nervous system resetting in it, which I credit a lot of this newfound sort of like, ooh, I just get to choose what I want, I would have had a very different reaction. And even though I had the money saved, I probably would have defaulted to, well, I have this amount of money, so this is what I can afford, so this is what I'm going to choose. Instead of me deciding, this is what I want, and I can actually afford it. So here we go. So that brings me to our prayer class that we had on Saturday. We're now 3 weeks in, and we have 2 more to go. And the topic that I brought to the table was safety. And the reason that I wanted to bring up safety in this prayer class is because prayer, at least from the New Thought perspective, is not about asking for something, asking someone for something. It is about affirming what we already know to be true. But it is also a very expansive practice. And what can sort of happen sometimes is if you're not ready for that expansion, if your body feels like that it's a threat to expand because this is something new and different and unfamiliar, then you're not going to demonstrate, you're not going to manifest, you're not going to experience whatever it is that you are praying, or as we like to say in religious science or science of mind, what you're treating for. And so I wanted to bring in this idea that sometimes, in order for us to expand, we need to signal safety to the body. The nervous system needs to understand that it is okay to open up to something that is new and different and unfamiliar, and that essentially it is not a threat. So as I was thinking about this today, I was thinking about the different things, the different steps, and I'm like, could I come up with some kind of little acronym or something that would be easy for people to remember, to just do like 4 or 5 or maybe 6 things to feel more safe, to feel more grounded, so that they can actually expand into something new and different. Like for me, which was, choosing what I wanted in this luxurious spa and resort, rather than, well, this is what I have, so this is what I have to choose based on that. So what I came up with was rise to the occasion. RISE, over there, as you can see, is an acronym, R-I-S-E. So the first letter, the R, stands for regulate. Okay, and this is about calming the nervous system and about signaling safety to the body. And so instead of being stuck in the head, instead of being all out here, what we want to do is we want to let our body know that we are getting ready to experience something different. And in order to experience something different, we want to signal safety to the body by doing some bilateral stimulation. Maybe we want to do some mindfulness exercises that allow us to just sort of really, really tune into our bodies and move from our amygdala into the prefrontal cortex, which is about clarity and being present. There are a whole bunch of different things that we could do, but anything that allows us to regulate our nervous system immediately starts to signal safety to the body that it's okay to experience something different. And so then we move to the I, which is integrate. And as we are regulating our nervous system, then we get to start processing and integrating, or sort of feeling okay with and familiar with this experience that we're having, or these emotions that we're feeling. And so it is about letting the body process the experience and know that it's okay to do so, that it's not a threat, that we're not going to die. And that moves us on to surrender. And the body is now starting to feel safer, and the nervous system is starting to feel regulated. This is when we start to be able to let go. Let go and open up, to let go and accept these new things that are about to happen. And so surrender is just as much about trust and acceptance. It is about letting go. And then the final letter, E, is about expansion. And so once we are calm, once we are regulated, once our body is like, oh my gosh, it's totally okay to experience something that's unfamiliar and new, then that's when we just get to relax into this incredible, amazing experience and expression as the wholeness, the allness, the wellness, the infinite creativity, resilience, and love that we truly are. So infinite love, consciousness, creativity, you are at your core, is already supporting your next step. You're never alone in this expansion. And so no matter how discombobulating or destabilizing it might feel to the body, even the brain, then there are these techniques that you do, this little practice that you can do, regulate, integrate, surrender, and expand, so that you can move from, oh my gosh, this is something I don't know about, I don't know what's going to happen, to it's okay, and open up and like, wow, I never even knew that this was possible. And it could be something, small about, choosing which restaurant to go to, or it can be something really, really big, like maybe moving house, or maybe moving to another part of the world, or something else. But there are opportunities every single moment for us to express more fully as the wholeness that we are. And the more that we practice signaling safety to the body, the more that we experience that safety, the more that we experience the surrender, then the more automatic it's going to be to allow ourselves to expand into a greater expression of who and what we are. So in the end, my question to you is, are you ready to rise to the occasion, to a new and different, more expanded and embodied expression and the most authentic, fulfilled, engaged, and inspired you? Regulate, integrate, surrender, expand. You have it in you to do so. Thank you, and so it is.